Welcome back, writers. Congratulations. I wanted to congratulate you on all the hard work you've done, from researching to putting in such creative ideas to make your writing look and sound like an informational author. Today is kind of our final last phase of our state report. You have worked tremendously hard throughout this, and now we want to make sure that we have um, our piece ready for publishing. And in order to do this, authors need to make sure that they continue to revise and edit, making sure that their writing is clear for the reader, making sure that you've set out what it is you wanted to do. You've accomplished that goal of informing your readers everything that you want to tell them on your state. So what we're going to do today is we're going to take a look at a rubric to evaluate your writing and revise and edit it, making sure that we are meeting the expectations of the paper and making sure that our writing is looking and sounding like a fourth grade informational writer. So we need to make sure that we're asking ourselves, did I do what I set out to do? We're going to make sure that we are rereading our drafts and making sure that they match the plan that we've set out to do. If there's a part that doesn't, then we need to make sure that we make adjustments and fix it. And we want to make sure that we have demonstrated use of strategies that you've been taught throughout this entire process, because we want to make sure that you have worked on some things in your own writing to make you a stronger writer. So we're going to take a look at, and I'm going to show you how this would look like, or what this would look like. You're going to have some steps for revising. What's really important, again, you've probably reread your paper a lot, but good authors reread and reread to make sure that they haven't missed anything, or there might be some tweaks to make it even better. So what you're going to do is you're going to start from the very beginning of your state report, and I want you to reread each paragraph aloud to yourself. You could read to a stuffed animal or a favorite toy, or hey, why not read to a sibling or even a parent for your report? So that way you're hearing your report out loud. After you read each paragraph, you're going to use a rubric and ask yourself, did I include this? If you did, you're going to find a specific piece of evidence for where you included it and highlight it in your paper. That's holding you accountable for the work that you've done, making sure that did you really do it and not just saying yes and checking the box, but where is it? Or if you're realizing that you did not, this is your chance to go back and add it in. And once you've added it in, then we can mark that box as a yes. And you'll know what I'm talking about once I show you the rubric. Lastly, we're going to take a look at some steps for editing. So you're going to reread your paper yet again with the focus for editing. Once you revise your whole paper, you're going to go back through and you're going to make sure you use this editing checklist to look for run-on sentences. So you want to make sure you look through each paragraph. If you have any run-ons where the sentence keeps on going and maybe there needs to be a pause or a period in there to break it up, you need to fix those. You need to make sure to use conjunctions to make compound sentences. Remember, those are words like and, yet, but. Think about the fanboys lesson that we did a while back. You need to make sure capitalization, you're looking for that. Every state name should be capitalized. Any specific city, any specific person's name, a specific national park, specific place, they all need to be capitalized. You also need to ask yourself, is this the start of a new sentence? Is my letter capitalized? Then continue looking down the page or in your section. Where else do I need a capital letter? Lastly, you're going to think about punctuation. Did I add a comma for complex sentences and short pauses? So that's going to be like your conjunctions. When you've combined these sentences, did you put a comma in there and the necessary punctuation, the necessary ending punctuation at the end of every thought? These are just reminders and a way for you to hold yourself accountable, making sure you are going through and looking for these things, and that you haven't missed anything as you reread your state report. So let me show you what this might look like first. I'm going to show you, let's go through our checklist here. This is your checklist that you will see on Seesaw. And I have the assignment here for you as well. What you'll do is you'll see it as a template, okay? And then you will also see the editing checklist here as the example. So at least you can have this up and look at it. But let's go back to our informational checklist here. We're going to think about overall, I taught readers different things about a subject. I put facts, details, quotes, and ideas in each part of my writing. So overall, as a whole in your report, we want to make sure that we're meeting that expectation. We're going to think about your lead because we had a specific lesson on your introduction. We want to make sure you hooked your readers using the surprising fact, giving the big picture, one of those strategies that you saw in the mini lesson. Looking for transition words here. Did I use next, later? Then those are things that really make your sentences flow together and have what we call sentence fluency. Those are very important words. We also had a lesson on that as well. Additionally, you will make sure that you have an ending. So that conclusion paragraph, did you remind the readers of the subject? Did you suggest a follow-up action? Or did you leave readers with a final insight, thinking about all the information that you put in your conclusion at the end? And then lastly, what was kind of nice is the organization is that we gave you some of the structures where you had your headings already, but it's really important that you note that you used paragraphs to separate each section and had information that was grouped together. So for instance, when I look in my climate paragraph, we broke that up into a couple of different paragraphs because if this was just one large paragraph, remember we focused on the fact that that's a little bit hard for the reader. Remember, you're thinking about your audience as you're revising this. Is this going to be clear for my reader? Do these ideas go together? If you realize that you may have not broken up a certain section correctly and had one big long paragraph, that might be the time to break it up. History is another specific area you're really going to want to take a look at. Did you break this up into paragraphs? They might be shorter paragraphs, and that's okay. But the solid information or similar information should be grouped together. Your places to visit should have 2 separate paragraphs. And then your economy should also have 2 separate paragraphs. So making sure, since we had a specific lesson on that you are realizing how your information is being grouped. So if you notice here, you have not yet, starting to, or yes. So this is when you go through and read each section. So like for my lead, I'm going to want to see, did I do this? Let me check my report. Let me find my specific evidence, and I'm going to check off yes, starting to, or not yet. So if I hooked my reader, let's go back to my report. Taking a dip in the cool waters of Lake Michigan on a hot summer day, feeling the crunch of crisp autumn leaves under your feet as you walk the woods of Starved Rock, ice skating the ribbon in downtown Chicago, and watching the flowers bloom in the many state parks are all fabulous things about Illinois. So I decided to use the descriptive hook, and this is where I would highlight it. There's my specific evidence. I feel that when I go back here to my checklist, my lead, I'm giving them the big picture and teaching them different things about the subject. Because even as I go further down, I talk about the seasons, which talks about the climate section. I talk about some food and some things that they can do, which talks about the tourism and maybe places to visit. And I also have this concluding sentence here that just lets the reader know I'm going to inform you about all of these fabulous things. So I would mark off here, yes, I am using all these different kinds of things in my read. Okay, then I would read on. Maybe I would take a look at my paragraph section. Okay, you don't necessarily have to go in order, but because as you're reading through section by section, you want to make sure you're looking for these specific things. I'm going to go on to the last little part here, the elaboration part. Did I do it like a fourth grader? So the elaboration piece is making sure that you're giving subtopics that were important and interesting. You guys had a lot of these already provided for you, so this might be an easy one that would be a yes. Did I include different kinds of facts and details using numbers, names, and examples? So that might be something you want to make sure, did I provide enough details for my reader? Did I get my information from talking to people, reading books, and from my own knowledge and observations? So thinking about, were you using a variety of sources in your research, not just using one? We have showed you many different places to get your research. So I have a feeling that that would be a yes for most of you. And then lastly, I made choices about organization. I might have used compare and contrast, cause and effect, pro, con. I might have used diagrams, charts, headings, bold words, and definition boxes to help teach my readers. That's going to be your text features that you include. Did you include a glossary? Did you include bold words? Where are those examples? Did you include any diagrams or maps in your report? So if you don't have all of these things, this would be a great time to go back and add it. So maybe you check off starting to or not yet. So once you kind of go through your paper, kind of like I modeled, and highlight the specific evidence based on that, you're going to go back through one more time and you're going to use this other editing checklist. This is more of like fine tuning your paper. Okay. Am I making sure that I'm looking through all of these things using this checklist with your paper next to it? After each section, ask yourself these questions. Again, revising and editing can feel like maybe a long and tedious process, but it is a very, very important process to make sure that our writing is exactly where we want it to be and making sure that we are making it all that it can be. So writers, we are so excited to have you share out all the wonderful information that you have learned throughout this entire process. You have once again, you've worked super hard on this project. So your teachers are all looking forward to hearing your reports and seeing your reports and your final product. All right, writers, off you go.